Hi, welcome back to my channel. This is Amy from Withlovebyamy, and today we're going to be making a masculine shaker card to start off with. And this is for Embossing Folder Friday from the group Handmade Happiness over on Facebook. We're doing a YouTube hop to help grow our channels, so please check it out. We have all the details linked in the box below. And here we are starting off. I'm using this waffle flower frame die to cut out the frame that I'm going to use for the shaker card, and we're embossing it with this diamond plate embossing folder. And I did the frame and the inside piece. I'll show you how it's going to turn out in a minute, or what the plan is anyways. This card didn't really go as expected, so the plan is to use that embossed part, the bigger part, to go around on the back, like a backer of the shaker window. And then I'm going to put the acetate on the back of the frame, and then after the acetate, I'm going to build up the frame with some foam tape, and then I'm going to put in the shaker bits. And the shaker bits are really fun. This is why I thought this was a cool masculine card, because I raided my husband's stash of leftovers, and I got some tiny washers and some tiny nuts, and I wanted to find some little tiny ball bearings, but I didn't have any, so I used this kind of snow looking stuff. And then I made a flaw here. I did not use my embossing powder, anti-static powder tool at first to destaticize the edges of the foam tape when I put it on there. So everything stuck together, and then I had to do card surgery and try to repair it. And this is what you're seeing here is my card surgery. And I used that palette knife to kind of separate it without ripping it. And this just kind of, I don't know, I have to figure out a better way to do things like this, because when I did the background, the embossed background, I didn't get it lined up properly when I put the panel on, the shaker window panel. So it didn't, you could see white behind it. So here I am trying to fix that with a Sharpie around the edges. Like, this card turned into a giant disaster. And I mean, in the long run, in the end, it turned out okay because I did several versions of card surgery on it. But here we are trying to fix the white space you see around the edges. And then when I put the front back on here in a second, you're going to see that there's way too much embossing powder left on the inside of the acetate, and it looks all cloudy and gross. So then I have to figure out how to fix that. And here we are doing that. Next up. Yeah, here we are putting way too much embossing powder on it, so hopefully the shaker bits don't stick to the edges. And it works. But here we are, just sticking it all back together. I'm going to hold it together with some stamp blocks. See, look at that. It's all cloudy from this the anti-static powder tool. And now I got to figure out what I'm going to do. So I'm going to use this set from the Ink Road Stamps. It's called Amazing Human. And I'm going to use Happy Birthday to a, I don't even remember what that other word was. Let's see here when we emboss it, because I can't remember. This was a while ago that I did all this. And we're going to emboss it in silver because I like the black and silver. To an Amazing Human. There we go. Then, you know what I did? I dropped it. As I was embossing it, it was hot, and I dropped it. So I had to do it on the other side of the paper. So let me tell you, this card was a mess. And here I am trying to figure out what shape I want to die cut it out in so that it will cover up the most amount of that scratched messiness. And here we go. I think these are called fancy label dies. They're old. They're from Stampin' Up. So we die cut it, and I just took some double-sided tape, and I stuck it on the front. And then look at that. It actually works, and it doesn't look like too much of a giant mess. I'm pretty happy with it overall. I think using the washers and stuff was pretty cool. And here it is in action. Yep, love it. Turned out pretty cool. All right, and on to the second card. I decided, since this ended up being a shaker card, I was going to do this card in the same video. This is a snow card for a different hop, which is taking place on Instagram, and the theme was snow on this one. This one is organized by Kelly's Craft, and it's called Christmas Come Early Hop 2022, and you can find it over on Instagram. This is a weekly hop she's doing in November, and every week there's a different theme. So this week was snow, and I decided I was going to use this window die to make like kind of like a looking out the window snow scene. So I stamped all these trees in green. I used my Catherine Pooler, I don't remember what green it was. But, and then I'm going to put the acetate onto the window. This one, I remembered to do all the things. Like, I remembered to not make a giant mess of my acetate with the anti-static powder tool. And I somehow managed to get it all, the foam, or the tape lined up and everything. So there we go. I'm using the anti-static powder tool, and I'm checking the tape before I put the shaker bits in, because, you know, that makes more sense than what I did. And there I am tapping out all the excess anti-static powder. And we're using some of the same little shaker ballies and a whole bunch of other stuff too. My husband got me all these cool shaker bits for my birthday from Michael's. And it's awesome to have such a big collection of shaker goodies. So yeah, we're going to use all the ones that are white and sparkly and look kind of snowy. In hindsight, I probably should have put in more, because, you know, when you're using shaker bits and stuff like that, more is better. You know, it's got to be sparkly and pretty. So there we are, adding all the shaker bits. I kind of feel like I'm making a potion here, adding all these different shaker bits. And I'm going to put some liquid adhesive on the foam tape before I stick the window down, so that if it's not in exactly the right spot, I can move it around a little bit before I squish it down onto the foam tape. I have found that that is a good trick to try to remember to use all the time. And there we go, lining it up. Much better job than I did with the last card. All right, and it's all set. I'm going to put a giant stamp block on there to keep it together while it dries. And then I'm going to use this snowflake double-sided paper as my background paper. We're going to glue it. Yeah, I know it's really pretty on the other side too, but it's very fitting for my Christmas cards and very striking, if I do say so myself. We're going to put some double-sided adhesive on the back of the little window panel. I found that score tape is probably the best thing for this when you're doing the shaker panels, because they tend to be heavier than most embellishments you put on the front of your cards, and it helps them stay in place better than most of them. And here we are playing with the cool shaker bits before we adhere it onto the card. I have to make sure there's room for my greeting down there at the bottom. And we're putting the greeting down. I did also put foam tape behind the greeting, so it's also popped up as high as the window is. But I love it. I love how it turned out. What would you have put in your window shaker? And I also decorated the flap on the envelope because there was just enough paper left over. So I put lots and lots of glue on here, and look what I did, so there wouldn't be little bumps for the glue. I just smeared it around with my finger, and it turned out really well. And because I put the glue everywhere, I don't think it's going anywhere when it's getting mailed. So hopefully that is the case. But I was pretty thrilled with this. I like the way it turned out. I felt like it was pretty ingenious when I saw that the leftover scrap of that paper was just the right size. I was like, yes, I gotta do this. So there, we stick it onto our Make Art station and let it dry. And then here we are playing with the shaker card as it's all finished and beautiful. I love it. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll come back soon. And don't forget to like and subscribe, because it really helps me out. And here are some more videos that you may enjoy. I got a playlist and some videos, so please don't forget to check them out. Have a great day. Thank you.